Once again, it's time for another Dani review. Hi, I'm Dani from Toro Strawberry, and today we're taking a break from Prodigy review Death Grips' Year of a Snitch. Oh boy, this is gonna be a weird one. So, Year of a Snitch is my fourth favorite album of all time. If you don't count Massive Attack's Protection, my personal favorite hip-hop album ever. Weird choice, I know. It's not something normal like someone like J. Cole or Eminem or Kendrick, no. I think Kendrick's albums are good, but my favorite album by Kendrick is Damn. I feel like that should say a lot about that. But, kind of gross. Year of a Snitch is the, I think, wait, 6th or 7th, I want to say 6th, studio album from the Sacramento-based, experimental hip-hop group Death Grips. If you don't know Death Grips, I really don't know how to describe them other than it's like if you fuse a punk band with like the surreal rapping of Kool Keith, and the entire band is, you have homeless people and it's industrial. Taking a lot of inspiration from noise music, punk rock, punk rap, experimental music, electronica. Anything, really. Death Grips has really made a name for themselves from 2010 to now. Because, one, the music is... Oh my god, is that fading? The music is unlike anything, literally anything else out there. There's plenty of industrial artists which sound kind of like Death Grips. Definitely inspired by them, but to me... nobody's really been able to replicate that certain Death Grip sound, especially not the sound of this album right here. Year of the Snitch. Yeah. Before I start, I should mention that Death Grips is not a artist for everybody. The lyrics are cryptic as hell, the vocals are more or less screamed rather than sung or rap most of the time, and the production is all over the place in terms of how experimental it is. So, it's not a group for everybody, and if you don't like it, that's understandable. Parents don't like Death Grips, but I know my friends do, and some of them don't. They're not for everybody, that's kind of what makes them cool. But, let's get into it. First track we have here is Death Grips is Online, and it is one of the greatest opening tracks to an album ever. Right off the bat, the album immediately sets the tone by having this almost upbeat, unusually upbeat production for Death Grips, until plunging into that usual freaking cryptic MC Ride rapping. You know, the song is upbeat, it's danceable, it's fun. It's one of the few Death Grips songs I can safely say feels danceable. It at least feels more mainstream. No, that's not the right word. It feels a lot more casual than the other songs, especially on this manic-ass album. I'm gonna say about Death Grips Online, actually. It's just a great song, and one of my favorite songs ever. Next up, we have Flies. I should also mention that each song segues into the next. So, his entire album is a lot of flow and continuity. The only songs that don't do that are Outro and Disappointed. The outro kind of just fades out and Disappointed just starts. But besides those two, which are the penultimate and final song respectively, each song fades into the next. And it is wonderful. No other Death Grips song album has done this, except maybe for the first disc with Powers That Be, Gentleman on the Moon. It's not called that, I can't actually say the name. Where each song there faded to the next, but when it got to Jenny Death, the second disc, it, didn't do that. Yeah. Anyways, Flies is another really good song. It samples, actually Death Grips' own work, Spread Eagle, Cross the Block, I want to say Hustle Bones, and definitely I've Seen Footage. Yeah, it's really good. It gives a good introduction to the more weird sound of this album. Compared to other Death Grips albums, which are more rock, which are either electronica, rock, or rock influence, one of those two, but obviously experimental and obviously more hip-hop influence. This is the weirdest record from Death Grips. And the fact that, well, it's not like the most unusual, it sounds the most normal. Also, it just, I don't know how to describe it, but if you were to actually listen to it, it sounds so off. Instruments kind of sound off-key. There's weird squelching 303-ish sounds everywhere. Each song sounds like it's slowly decaying and rotting. It is one of the most unusual albums I have ever heard in terms of production, and that's why I love it so much. It's unique, it's fresh. Anyways, Flies is fun. It's really fun, and I'm going to be talking a lot more about production, a lot of these, because, like I said, cryptic lyrics, shape to the rise, vomit me, flies, flies vomit me, together rise, arrow tight, shape to the rise, vomit me, flies, flies vomit me, vomit your eyes, afflicted, coolers, afflicted, blankets, Denver ale, terminal patient, rubberized, skin rubberized, boyer entertainment, got you sense, save it. Yeah, I don't know what this means. If I go on Genius, which is on my phone, so I can't do it, I would have more to say about the lyrics of this album, but I really don't. It's cryptic on purpose. It's confusing. It's mind-screwy, but that's kind of why I love Death Grips so much. And, you know, they sometimes do have more straightforward songs, like Centuries of Damn and On GP. Two of my favorite tracks from Death Grips ever, but that's album for another review. Next up is something I actually have more to say about. Black Paint. The most normal song on the album. Black Paint is like Death Grips' attempt at stoner metal rock. It's a lot more straightforwardly rock influence, with MC Ride rapping about, you know, Black Paint. I guess he's rapping about, you know, oh, I'm so mysterious, I'm mysterious, I'm a mystery, which, yeah, Ride, you really are. You, Zach, and Andy, all three of you are mysterious as hell. But yeah, it's a song that admittedly I'm not a big fan of, but it's still a great song, and it's never usually a skip for me. Like, whenever I listen to the album in full, I never skip it. I don't skip any of the songs on this album, except for maybe Lil Richard, but we'll get to that one. Black Paint is so fun. It is a fun song, and it's, I think, the most accessible song on the album if you're already a rock metalhead. Alright, next up, we got, oh geez, Linda's in Custody. There's a little bit of a backstory. So, Charles Manson was a guy who existed. He was a guy. He was a very, very terrible guy who had a cult. I think it was the Manson family, and he basically told people like, "Okay, go murder these guys." They were like, "Okay." And I know I'm treating this casually, but he was a freaking terrible individual. Fuck. One of the members, Linda Cosaba, I don't know, I forgot the last name. Linda, she saw it, was like, okay, I'm out. She was part of a family, so she basically ratted him out, rightfully so, to the police and stuff. And, yeah. Now, Death Grips has been known to reference, you know, Manson before. In fact, their first song on their debut mixtape, ex-military, titled Beware, Beware starts out with a audio recording of Manson. Also, I think he made music. I don't want to check the music out. I don't feel like checking out Manson's music. Do not expect a review of Charles Manson's music, ever. I'll be dead in my fucking grave before that happens. Anyways, let's get into the actual song itself. As usual, the lyrics are cryptic, but they more outright reference, you know, Linda and, you know, what happened with the lyric, how do you say come to me, hanging out with Linda Irish, she's in fucking custody! And production is literally the most unusual from this album. That's like a lot considering the production for this album. It's so hard to describe. It's like this weird carnival-esque music. It was like it would come from like a Joker film, mixed in with these like really weird drums, and the entire track feels like it's just rotting. Like the skin is peeling off of the song. It's cool as hell, and another song that's not really it's never a skip. I love Linda's in Custody. Yeah, great song. Next up, we have the first of two instrumentals, the horn section. Now, contrary to the name, there are no horns in this song. They fucking lied. The horn section is Zach and Andy just going mental on the drums and the production and the synths respectively. That's all. It is literally just them going absolutely nuts. Just go on Zach Hill's case, and Andy Moore's case is just like boop 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 boop. You know, keyboard guy. Yeah, it's a fun little interlude before a great streak of songs. Starting off with I grab my knife here. Ha ha ha. Ha ha is the most lyrically the most straightforward Death Grips song from this album. It feels more like Death Grips' attempt at like a modern rap song, I guess I should say. You know, references woman and bitches and fucking and shit, you know, stuff that people do. And of course, it's Death Grips we're talking about. They're anything but normal, and of course, what they made is one of the most manic songs I think I've heard. Especially that chorus, ha ha ha, yeah. Like everyone goes, like the guitar there is so freaking cool. You know, the lyrics are like, I'm a global in a wet fuck hole over 1994 hobos from 60 knots of riches from our you we just should die. Oh, it's hi, he's a crazy dog. Yeah, it's basically just them trying to do a rap song. You know, but I'm trying to do a modern rap song about bitches and money and shit. Of course, result is one of the most mental sounding songs ever. I love it. It's followed by the even more mental Shit Show. Shit Show is, I don't want to say, it's not instrumental. But it's once again Zach, Andy, and now Ride just losing their absolute shit. No pun intended. It's loud, it's fast, it's just... right before the song ends, you'd hear Ride almost screaming for help. It's one of the most crazy songs on an album full of crazy songs. So I'll say about Shit Show. Next up is Streaky. Actually, the most normal track on the album. Streaky is a fun little track. It reminds me of Air from what was that one? Bottomless Pit. It reminds me of Air from Bottomless Pit. It's a fun little. It's a shorter song. It's fun. It's normal for the most part. It's catchy as hell. You know, streaky. Wait. Streaky on the outside. Stand by doing the franchise. Outside doing this sounds right. Streaky on the outside. Oh my yeah. Booty on the outside. Stand by doing the franchise. Outside doing the sounds right. The outside. Oh my yeah. It's one of the most catchy Death Grip songs they've ever released. And I love it a lot. I have nothing to say about it, honestly. I'm trying to find things to say about this. But it's being followed by Dilemma. Death Grip's most melodic song. The funny thing about Dilemma is that it starts off with, of all people, Adam frickin' Adamson. He's saying, oh yeah, Death Grips, they have a dilemma. They'll win the dilemma. You don't know who he is? He's just a guy. He directed Shrek. Yeah, we got the guy who directed Shrek to do an intro monologue for one of their songs. Fair, they've had some crazy people help them too, along with, you know, the guy who played Batman doing the guitar and birds on Garden Plates. Jesus Christ, that's mouthful. Dilemma is the most melodic Death Grip song, if that's even possible. Taking a more almost jazz influence with organs and, you know, we have organs there, you know, guitars and drums sound more jazzy. It sounds like Death Grip's weird kind of attempt at a jazz fusion song. It works. It works. That Lemon was just one of the most awesome songs too, because of that freaking, the awesome chorus where just da 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 da. It is awesome. It is one of the most upbeat and just one of the most upbeat and frankly one of the best Death Grip songs ever. It is so fun the whole way through. Please listen to it. Next up is Little Richard, my least favorite track from Death Grips. It's a fine enough song. It comes a little bit out of nowhere, and would preferred it not be on the record, but it's there. I have nothing to say about it. Let's just move right to the song I have a lot to say about. The Fear. The Fear, kind of like Dilemma, takes more of a jazz influence, but it's, you know, with more, you know, pianos and I want to say organs again, everywhere, and the drums sound more jazzy. Everything sounds jazzy. It's more jazz influence with more jazz influence than Dilemma, I want to say, while also, you know, having electronic influence. I should also mention, Death Grips has always had an electronic influence throughout all their music. It's awesome. Anyways. Yeah. Lyrically, though, I can actually understand what the hell the album's about. And the album is about suicide. Something that is a concept I'm all too familiar with. Yeah, so, and I get too deep into it, in my own stupid thoughts. The Fear is a song about Ryan just losing his mind and killing himself by supposedly jumping off the balcony of whatever. It is one of the most haunting Death Grip songs. And there was this dealt with suicide before with the amazing song On GP, which is an absolutely beautiful song, by the way. Please check that out. The Fear, but while On GP ended on a more hopeful note, The Fear ends on a depressing note where Ryan ends up killing himself. It is one of the most disturbing songs by Death Grips to me. I don't know. That's just a me thing. It kind of hits a little close to home. Anyways, but even without that, Fear is my favorite Death Grips song. It is genuinely just freaking awesome. Instrumentally and lyrically. Next up, we have Outro, the penultimate song, which I think is really funny they call it penultimate song Outro. The second and last instrumental off the album. It's a short little instrumental. It's fun, it's cool. I have nothing to say about it. It's a nice little interlude. Until it gets you Disappointed, the outro track. Disappointed is more straightforward Death Grips than the rest of the album, but that's not to say it doesn't fit on the album, because it definitely does. So it goes, yeah. This is Ryan probably has most manic since I want to say all of Jane Death. If we say this powers that be, but yeah, he screams the chorus at the top of his lungs. I don't know how many even has any lungs after how much he screams. The track sounds like it's falling apart. There's a voice saying, "Wow, wow, 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 disappointed," and the entire song. Let's see. is like about someone like Ride feeling disappointed from himself in his life. I think that's what I got from the song. Depressing, a depressing and disturbing end to a pretty disturbing album, but a great one at that, and a song I highly recommend. And overall, all right, final thoughts. I love this album. If I've made that apparent enough. It's one of the most unique sounding records I've ever heard. I've heard a lot of different records in my lifetime. It is, to this day, there's nothing quite like Year of a Snitch. There's no artist to me quite like Death Grips. They're truly one of a kind, and I love them for that. Like I said, this album, Death Grips in general, won't be for everyone, but if you decide to check out Death Grips, I recommend you start with this album, honestly. That's just my opinion. It's the most, like, normal-ish album in their discography, so I'd recommend checking that out first. Delicious, sir. Overall, Year of Snitch is a straight 10 out of 10. It's one of the best records I've heard. It's one of my personal favorites. So, yeah. And that concludes it. So if you enjoyed this, thank you, I did too. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.